they've proven to us recently in their matchups, especially versus JDG, that they can overcome any kind of deficit they want if they have a full late game composition, and they don't have to concede too much. They've shown a lot of restraint early on.
We're already losing some big bodies that would have been left in the jungle to play tank, right? So we lose Mundo and Malphite. Nobody's playing Sejuani, nobody's playing Skarner right now, so we won't have tanks in the jungle. Karma ban is really interesting. I wonder what that signals about Weibo's bottom lane plan.
Yeah, very interesting that they decide to take that one straight away. You worry that that's going to leave you with something quite short range, that a double poke kind of composition into would be devastating to play. Something like the Kai'Sa potentially can have quite some struggles when you're constantly getting poked and pushed around, although that hasn't been particularly high priority in the meta recently.
Another blue side ban phase where it's Varus, Malphite, Nico. Both teams have done it, but we did leave Rumble up here, so Zika will immediately pounce on that. I think that is really valuable for what we talked about coming out of the top lane in this series so far, to get that in the game 3.
It's also something that he played in their last matchup and was able to play very effectively. It was into the Cassante, so it'll be interesting to see if the Cassante is what you just respond with right here. The laning phase, a little bit rough, not going to be the end of the world. And this is an ADC we've been highlighting a lot. See if this one will be locked in. It will be a real flip of the script right here for JDG to grab their ADC this early. And no, they decide to go towards the jungle instead. I'm very surprised too that we're not seeing the JunJia and Wukong matchup. That's what we were just expecting at this point in the series.
Yeah, so do we try and lock up a mid lane duo? HongQ is famous for the Anivia, but it really only works into certain team comps. I'd say it'd be near troll to pick Anivia now, but maybe they like Ahri. Does HongQ want to play Vi Ahri? I'll wait. I think, like you pointed out, just take the Cassante into the Rumble now.
Yeah.
Oh, but Jiejie is one of our few Poppy jungle players still left around.
And you get to move that around if you want to. It can still go down into the bottom line for Erha as well if you want it to go there. And it does just stop a lot of what JDG's composition already wants to do with their dashes. At the same time, though, it isn't going to be as fully engage focused down towards the bottom lane. It doesn't give you any sort of hard engage at all, really, other than that dash.
I still always like it to really just inhibit the ability for JunJia to play the game he wants to play. So I like that call. You can get counter pick in the jungle, but if this does go into the jungle directly, this is one of those rare times this actually feels like a purebred counter pick.
Yeah.
What do Weibo want to round out their comp with here? This is all right. So we're gonna pick for wow. So picking
they are gonna do it,
man. JunJia, I'm sorry, buddy. You've been gapped in the draft. Miasma and the why am I blanking on the Poppy? I'm blanking on with the Poppy. Steadfast Presence. Steadfast Presence, Miasma. Like JDG, I dare you to pick more Dash champions.
I mean, it has been played 5 times, so it's not completely unplayed so far during this split, but it is just locked down fully. If you want to try to go anywhere with this composition, Weibo are just going to say no, and the response will be the Anivia. The Anivia can have a pretty good matchup into the Cassiopeia. One of the few champs who actually can step to a Cassiopeia a little bit. For the most part, though, you're looking to play safe, play a little bit further back, and look to just chuck that Storm down during the big team fights. For JDG, it's about picks at the moment. That's where their composition's really looking. For Weibo, all about the team fights. Still, they don't have themselves too much hard engage. You've got your Poppy Dash to try lock somebody down, but other than that, you've got some slows, and that's really the only CC you have. If this is going to be a Poppy in the jungle, then you can get a lot of that CC through from your support. Still, plenty of the engaged support still available. I think a Rel would be quite nice in this composition.
Yeah, I think we have to get those engaged supports in a game like this because especially for JDG, it's really hard to play with a Vi that's going to be limited like this. Rel obviously also can really fall for what Poppy can do. The more and more I see this Poppy, even if it is support, right? With there being no Nautilus, we don't have like a Bard to counter, or like Leona. I think Nautilus and Leona are two that can really overcome what Poppy does. But we're looking at Rel that can get knocked out of her crash down. Like Alistar can get taken out of his headbutt pulverized with this Poppy. We'll have to see what the support pick looks like. The Renata ban does scream that it will likely just be Rel or Alistar here for JDG.
Very, very likely. Either of those are just going to give you that extra level of engage, potentially extra level of support overall. I think that Alistar would make a lot of sense right here because it also takes the Rel away potentially from Weibo, where they could look quite good in their composition. You don't necessarily want to play it into that. At the same time, though, do you feel confident in actually being able to get onto the backline right now because of all of the stop? No, you're not allowed to move right here. It would work in a usual composition, but specifically into the steadfast presence and the miasma, I don't know that you want it. Lucian would be very surprising, considering you've already got anti-dash.
Yeah, good call. The miasma value just goes up here.
Up and up.
Up and up indeed. But this should signal, I would assume, Lucian. Oh, no. So Lucian Nami or Lucian Braum, right? Lucian Braum is also the combo if you want to get a little bit tankier. I like the idea of the two Freljordian champions for JDG being able to do a lot of space creation. Because even if you do have a lot of dash cancels, at some point, Weibo are going to have to try and go into this team, but here's a bottom lane that we have rarely seen come across. It's going to be the Caitlyn and what, Bloxxer?
Oh boy, I mean, in this situation, you still kind of want yourself a little bit of hard engage, but that doesn't fit particularly well right here alongside the Caitlyn. What do you want to pair up with it in this specific spot?
I mean, so the pairings we got used to last year were Caitlyn Lux, obviously, and then Caitlyn Elise was the Elk and On special. Wow. Okay, so Elk found, let's just say, some high highs on this pick and low lows on the world stage. And now he goes over to Weibo and he's like, Erha, how's your Elise looking in this game 3?
The reason I'm hesitant to call towards the Elise right here is because, yeah, you've got some extra dive potential, and yes, it does give you the cocoon as one bit of extra CC, but you are still in a real, actual CC deficit right here as Weibo. Whereas for JDG, they've got so much extra lockdown that they can put on through, especially now with this Nami, the bubble, the wave, those are going to be very annoying for a composition that has to just run at you. There's not really another way for Weibo to engage a teamfight other than sprint at you, hope you stand extra wall for the Poppy to be able to slam you into it, and then slow you to death. There's so many slows, so little actual CC out of Weibo. Still, the amount of damage that this composition has is incredible.
Yeah, and we talked about it, right? Do we think Weibo are maybe going to try and index to play slower, like the way they were able to win game 1, or do they want to try and finally win an early game, something they have yet to do in this series, something that they were pretty successful in doing to sweep JDG the first time these two teams matched up? We got our answer on the back end of this Red Side draft.
Yeah, we did, and it's into a composition out of JDG that's very, very interesting. That Lucian Nami wants to get aggressive early, but into that Elise, you really can't. That doesn't allow you to get that aggressive early in the individual 2v2. So what are the junglers going to do? I'd have to imagine both of these junglers are going to be wanting to start up towards the top side of the map and work their way down to the bottom lane. It should be very explosive.
What a fun draft we got here to close out this series. Some champions rarely seen in 2026 for the LPL. The Lucian Nami bottom lane, the Caitlyn Elise first look of the year. But we have some staple champions from our mid laners as well. HongQ, known as such a big Anivia player. And we've seen some huge Xiaohu, Cassiopeia performances over the years. All of it to decide our series for the final time in the regular split. It's JDG and Weibo taking the Summoner's Rift. Oh, look at this. JDG, they know how powerful Caitlyn Elise can be. Level 1 to play the lane, and HongQ is already with that Flash Frost. Going to get Flash out of Erha. Wow, that's
huge.
That's studying tape right there.
That really is. That's just really nice to be able to recognize that they like to push forwards quite aggressively. You wouldn't even be able to study that they like to push forwards aggressively with this combo. It's not a combo we're seeing really at all at the moment. Now, Jiejie going to get circled right here as well, but he's got Xiaohu.
Okay, Flash Frost is stunned. Xiaohu coming on over. Who wins the smite fight? Oh, we have to flash bottom lane because level 1 we're already trading there as well. It's going to be the jump on from Erha. Heal out of Gala. And somehow, all of that happening in the jungle, nobody ends up dying there either. I don't see flashes burned out of either mid jungle on top of that, so
everybody just kind of walks on away. JunJia is able to grab his camp. He's able to smite that one away, so really no harm, no foul in the end. I do like the aggressive attempt right there out of Weibo, though. You know that you've got yourself a bot lane that you could potentially play around. You've also spotted where everybody is. You know, you've moved down towards the bottom side of the map for that initial play, and with the timing of the map being that much faster with the earlier minion spawn, you can't now walk to your top side, so I like the idea of Weibo. Doesn't really work out for them, though.
And it really is to benefit for JunJia, because one of the things we talk about with Vi is she is very susceptible to falling behind with invades. It's hard for her to ever skirmish, so the fact that you've now, in my mind, secured yourself a full first clear as JunJia with no real worry that JJ is coming back because his clear is so much slower will be pretty significant.
Yeah, could well be. We're also watching mid lane where, yeah, you're expecting to just kind of get pushed in. There's not really a champion you can play into the Cassiopeia that doesn't just get pushed around during the early game. Landing those Twin Fangs is just so oppressive.
Yeah, it's already got HongQ forced to reset on a bit of a... Oh, this is a pretty rough... He's going to have to TP back, and Xiaohu has the wave in a great spot for him as well to kind of just choke out some resources. So good start there for Xiaohu. It's going to be JunJia. Like we talked about, I mean, look at this, right? So he skips camps because he knows that JunJia has to path towards bot side next. He finishes off the Scuttle Crab, and now he's trying to find Jiejie in the jungle, or maybe even try to steal this blue buff. Things get contested over there as our top laners are going blow for blow. But
and this
I
is
wonder
explosive.
who can rally. Oh, wow, he's just going to come out. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, you can't really keep pushing. You know that the reset is coming right here from Xiaohu, so he's going to be back into lane, could potentially come and roam down. And as much as Erha and Elk are pushed underneath their tower, yeah, they still could potentially rotate up, and you don't want to get caught out in this situation. To be fair, part of the joy of making that little invade happen is just keeping eyes on JJ. You want to make sure you know exactly where this Poppy is as much as possible to avoid your other teammates falling to ganks.
JunJia covering in the mid lane is Xiaohu with the Twin Fangs going for more and more aggressive trading. Could be backed up here as he gets the Twin Fangs down, but he has to flash away from the Frost Bolts. So that's flash off of another immobile mage. We'll see if JunJia can re-gank to punish that, as Jiejie is taking a very, very good path to get around for a bottom lane gank, but won't look for it.
Decides against it, doesn't think he's going to be able to fully get that one off. And to be fair, Gala and Vampire were on their way back towards base. Now, HongQ, he's going to have a couple people in his lane, not really too worried about this overall.
Oh, okay. Thank God he's got the egg for it, because I saw JJ looking for a flash slam into his own turret to find that kill, but egg form is going to take away from that. What really brings over from all this moving around on the map for JJ is he continues to fall further behind here. He not only is much slower on his clear, but now he's been double scuttled by JunJia as well.
Which is really, really rough. Getting towards that level 6 that much faster for JunJia is going to be huge for him. This Vi ulti is kind of the big thing. The season desist coming on through, it's what you use to get yourself as many ganks and as many kills as possible. And I feel like surely the Vi should be even stronger at the moment because people are in their laning phase for longer. That's where your ulti is most effective. You walk in, you press ult, you at least get a flash out of your opponent. So if you can get to that level 6 quickly, then use it during the laning phase, that should be really effective for JDG too.
Gala and Vampire, for now, doing a pretty decent job, able to keep competitive, actually up a couple creeps for the time being into what was known as the most oppressive bottom lane combo.
Yeah.
Again, I really want to call back to what Elk was able to do in some huge Game 5s of big postseason matchups with Owen to find wins on this very combo, running over lanes as we get to play my favorite game, top laner ultimate chicken. But my god, Zika, the damage is ludicrous. He finds first blood bot side. It's just flashes galore coming out here. Erha trades out Vampire, Elk dead though to JunJia. We have kills flying off the map early, but it's the support. Erha picking up the kill on the Elise actually might be more valuable than you'd think.
Yeah, I mean, you get to turn that into some extra damage early on. Really not the end of the world. You get some expensive items coming up too. Xiaohu as well. Ow. Just going to get poked out massively. Things were calm and collected for 5 minutes and everything explodes onto the map right there. Critically, Flash going to be gone from Elk as well with the upcoming dragon down on the bottom side of the map. That could be critical. Need that extra level of survivability into the face of a very aggressive composition out of JDG.
JunJia, knowing he's got the cover of his much healthier mid laner, looking to brawl with Jiejie, who is going to, feast on some melons to pick up a bit of extra health. I'm watching to see if either bottom lane wants to move. Gala feels aggressive to look for a dash, but Elk finds a really good trade back. Cocoon going to go wide, though, from Erha. And, yep, it's going to be JunJia with the help of HongQ securing his third Scuttle Crab in a row, by the way. And this should take him over to level 6, if I'm not mistaken. There it is.
It will indeed. Yep, and give him the upgraded smite as well, so he can just take this dragon if he wants it. And we'll have a look back at what ended up happening up in the top lane. How long does he stand in this? Yeah, I mean, as Xiaoxu, you cannot just stand and press any abilities in that equalizer. He decides to take the entire thing. He tanks all...
Oh my god, I didn't realize Elk flashed for the trap.
I didn't see that bit either. We're
wild.
flicking back and forth between all of the different lanes at this point. We get to see what it was that was exciting right there. Yep, with that level 6 in the upgrade, Smite JunJia just going to be able to grab himself that Drake and move back on out of there. And through the early game, a small gold lead opening up for Weibo, just with that kill going down top lane. But still, it feels like JDG, they've been more in control of the pace of the game and what's happening on the map.
And no reason to really panic about Zika's lead. The annoying but powerful thing about K'Sante is even if he does fall early, as long as he doesn't drop a couple more times, Zika can really let this lead balloon. He's going to pick up MR very early, and it will kind of shut Zika's ability out to kill him, especially on his own. But again, it does pull to that trend you talked about. Stats-wise, Xiaoxu is having a phenomenal year, but it feels like against Zika, he doesn't find that same mark he's used to.
No, he just can't find that next level. This is a matchup they played in the last go-around as well, and he wasn't able to get anything really going on with K'Sante. The whole team of JDG wasn't able to get anything going that time around, so they really need to pick up the pace on that. Here, they're going to be Weibo going to start up these grubs. Not sure if they're going to be able to grab all of them. Yeah, should be able to. Doesn't look like JunJia's going to try for anything there. Instead, we've got some pretty aggressive pings going down towards the bottom side of the map. HongQ potentially looking for something. He will be spotted on a ward, though.
JunJia on the top side is going to smite steal from Jiejie onto one. That's the win that they're looking for. The Flash Frost is going to land into the Glacial Storm. HongQ, the early damage that he's been able to put together with his classic Anivia is really paying dividends.
Yep, he's just been able to kind of move it around as well, which has been really nice so far. Of course, you do lose out onto a little bit of a turret plate for that play. Nothing too much to write home about, however. We've now got a little while until the next big objective comes up. As such, people pretty happy to just be using their spells, not worrying too much about saving it for any big specific fight. We do have both junglers on the bottom side of the map at the moment. We could get something explosive if somebody mispositions.
Xiaohu also looking to try and move into that space here, but has to contend with these mid waves. It is Xiaohu with that turret plate that does actually have a lead over HongQ, and this top lane lead is growing by the minute for Zika. So we talk about the trends of a series, especially when we get 3 games deep. This is something that Weibo have not found in this series. Their solo lanes having leads through the opening 10 minutes is, oh, I love that all out from Xiaoxu, but does he really think with less resistance he can find this win? I guess with the fact that JunJia is coming on over, Zika flashed over the fat wall, and now he's trying to run his way out, and he will survive, but good on Xiaoxu standing up to a lane state that is not friendly towards him.
Oh, absolutely, and the fact that you now lose out onto that flash is going to be huge. As much as the Rebel does a lot of damage, very immobile if you can get right on top of him. That's just going to make things a little bit harder to play out. We have a look at what's happening on the item fronts. Nothing too exciting coming on through. I like the early pickup of boots coming through for a Cassiopeia. Doesn't that feel weird? Doesn't that feel weird?
I don't like it.
Every bone in my League of Legends body feels like it's wrong right now, looking at that.
Yeah, this is like, is Xiaohu putting the boots on Cassiopeia's hands? I mean, it can't go on. There's no feet. I don't know.
There's no feet.
That's a conversation for other people to have.
As much as it looks wrong, it will be really useful here. The Swifties just going to give you that extra little bit weaving your way on through. I mean, as Cassiopeia players, you've got to be thrilled with being able to pick these up now.
Speaking on the boots, HongQ, rarely can you see an angle to go Merc Treads on a mid laner. This is actually a game I really like it. Obviously, the double AP solo lanes. Petrifying Gaze, HongQ dodges it. Miasma slow. Erha can't get close enough for a cocoon. Just love what HongQ can do and what he brings to this league with those small little outplays he can find.
It was just such a good little bit of timing right there. If he looks straight into Xiaohu's face and gets hit with that Petrifying Gaze, he's dead. He's done for instantaneously, so really good of him to be able to get away. Still, though, looking towards the bot lane, JJ looking for a pretty big flank right now, and he is going to find it, although Erha getting hit by the bubble might hurt.
Okay, there's a heroic charge into the Keeper's Verdict, double knockup. Gala then commits the flash, and the Ace in the Hole doesn't do enough damage yet, so as always, Gala knows exactly when he can find a window to wiggle on out of a potential dangerous play.
There's another one of the cocoons missing from Erha as one of the few pieces of hard CC that you actually have on this composition. It really does need to be hitting those. Still, he got hit by the bubble earlier on, which kind of delayed the full rotation, and you don't have to lose out onto too much, just a flash and a heal.
Here comes JunJia in the fog. Yep, gonna flash to get the cease and desist down into
boy.
the tidal wave knockup and the culling. That was phenomenal, JDG. 2 kills with a snap of their fingers.
I love the replay right there of JDG. Hey, we've just been ganked onto. We're now going to get pushed in because we've lost out onto a summoner spell. Perfect time to bring your jungler in. And now they're going to be able to turn this one back around into the second Drake of the game. Really nice to see them being able to grab a lot of the objectives at the moment and keeping this composition that needed things going well for them early game ahead.
Yeah, not to rub salt in the wound of the region here. Well, actually, I can because I'm also still hold NA to a high degree. But we saw when BLG lost to 100 Thieves what happens when your Caitlyn Elise lane doesn't stop lane. And I unfortunately think that's what we're kind of getting set up for here if you're Weibo.
Yeah, this is part of why I was a little bit worried about the potential of the Elise or the Lux, to be honest. You need to win. HongQ should just be able to walk himself away, and it's going to have wide-ranging impacts on the rest of this game. You do have a lot of damage. Sure, you've got the Rumble, you've still got yourself the Cassiope, you don't have to be the only damage, but you need your bot lane to be able to do something in this situation, to be as effective as possible, because you look at your opposite numbers, and the Lucian Nami will just do more in these late-game teamfights unless they're behind.
Yeah, I mean, they just haven't got the value out of this combo that you really want. It's one turret plate, Elk is 0-2. It just stinks because I think you got to think that Elk had a really big hand in wanting to pick this bottom lane, knowing that he's played so much Caitlyn and Erha. I don't want to say he played no Elise support games in the short window of time he had with Weibo, but I assume he hadn't. So to make that call and then fall flat like this is pretty bad, but there's a flash heroic charge into a beautiful combo coming out from Xiaohu. The egg form not to save HongQ, and Jiejie says, hold on a minute, I'm going to try and rescue this early game.
Into the thinnest bit of a wall that you possibly have. JunJia now has to jump away.
Keeper's verdict to cancel the Fault Breaker. No. That was beautiful, Jiejie. Only problem here being Xiaohu's mana bar completely depleted, or that would have been 2 kills.
Yeah, I mean, this is the unfortunate thing about not having fully stacked up that tier quite yet. JunJia could now look towards the bottom lane if he really feels like it, although still the flank coming through.
Flash Cocoon comes down, but again, Elk with the tidal wave hitting him, he can't push out enough damage to really punish Gala. Good peel there from Vampire, as everybody's TPing down here. HongQ joining for JDG's. Zika joins for Weibo. But with everything fizzling out, I think the real winner here is, again, JDG with Xiaoxu.
Yeah, I mean, in the way that Xiaohu just getting so much through for himself. He's able to just constantly pull in this gold. Oh boy, I mean, in this game, what you really needed out of JDG was to keep the pace high, keep getting kills, and not allow a couple of key critical members to get gold. Well, Zika gets his own gold. Xiaohu gets his own gold. As much as Elk hasn't been getting ahead, I mean, you still do have to be worried about these other lanes.
It's a fair point, but now you do have the added effect of Xiaoxu being able to match into either solo lane, because they're both AP as a Kanik. Like, nobody's killing. Neither of them are going to kill him on his own. There's no real threat there, and JunJia will be able to pick up the Rift Herald with the fact that they have so much control to this side of the map, and all Jiejie can find in response is some stolen camps, and that's about it.
I mean, it's something, right? A little bit of injection of gold. We have yet to see a proper fight come through with multiple members. Instead, we're just going to get another gank, another dive.
All right, so the Equalizer does some good early damage, but Jiejie just patiently waits for the wave to come up, and no HongQ egg to save him this time. Jiejie is locked in to try and keep Weibo alive in the series, but JunJia, our Game 2 MVP, immediately looks for a mid lane play. Oh my god, not the 360 no-scope. Oh, he's going after Erha! Nah, get another one.
JJ?
All right. JunJia, all right, I believe. Oh, man. It looked cool at first, but that is a flat finish.
That was horrible. That's a horrible way to have used the Rift Herald, especially because, yeah, you probably do jump back out onto a snap trap, but you are a Vi. You probably can still Vault Break your way back out again. You knew where JJ was. He was down towards the bottom side. He wasn't going to be able to stop you from jumping out with a Steadfast Presence. I think just going for the crash with the Rift Herald there is the better play, but they don't go for it in the end. It does, like you say, fall a little bit flat. And so we take a check-in at this game just 17 minutes in. We've obviously got another Drake spawning in less than a minute's time. And with first items just about coming through, this is where JDG are going to be in a very strong spot.
I'm not going to
two
flame
items on Gala. Holy.
Yeah, 2 items on Gala is really big. First strike gold, I guess, giving him a bit of that pushover on that category. And once again, Gala, biggest gold lead over Elk, really responding to the marquee AD carry matchup. I do want to quickly shout out JunJia. I'm not going to flame you for your driving because you gave me the opportunity to say 360 no scope and
that's true. So. He did hit the 360 no scope. If he'd have then managed to land it again, it would have been cooler. Gala, watch out. JJ looking for him, and you can tell both teams really beginning to set up around this bottom side for this objective. You can see Xiaohu as well heading back to base, potentially does have a teleport to get involved with this play, as does Xiaoxu.
Cool. We always talk about how Weibo showed a lot of restraint with dragons and being willing to not kind of flip the game on them in this series. Yeah, this is unfortunately a part where we got to bring the house, the kitchen sink, everything, the plumbing, everything down to this dragon pit. You cannot afford to give up a third Drake this early into a game. And Weibo know it. They're jockeying already for the dragon's attention.
Still, I like what JDG is doing. They're just going to push their way through the mid lane. You can't hold this tower with just Elk. He doesn't have the wave clear. He doesn't have the threat in him at the moment. Really, the big wave clear that you've got at the moment is going to be Xiaohu, and he's still stuck in the top lane being pinned there by Xiaoxu. So you need to just keep the pace of this up a little bit. Like you say for Weibo, you can't afford to just be slow. That's a good little check of damage with the ace in the hole. You can see at the moment Elk doing a decent chunk, but nowhere near what Gala's going to be doing.
Jiejie is trying to be really sneaky around vision, but Erha's going to have to walk right up to Gala. Oh my god, that's Lucianami, if you ever forgot about it. None of the calling hit, by the way, there. Both top players are going to TP in. That is a fat shield.
Elk?
Oh my god, Gala. First strike, double tap, takes 40% of Elk's HP bar out here, and now Weibo, I don't know if he really can make this work. JunJia's just going to smite secure the dragon nonetheless. Keeper's Verdict is going to punt out JunJia. They are going to turn on the Xiaoxu. He goes all out, but he kind of works right back into Weibo. Flashes, Equalizer comes down. That's a great tidal wave from Vampire, though. JDG looking to disengage. Zika looking to flash on top of Gala. Clench flash out of Gala will get him out. Weibo desperately want to claim some of these kills. They keep up the chase. They're unrelenting, but they're going to find nothing.
That's a grand heist right there out of JDG to be able to get away. JJ walking up, smiting away a couple of the Krugs just to take something.
HongQ.
That was 2 really nice plays from HongQ right there. Not just their wall, but also getting that double stun off, allowing JunJia to be able to get away. And you said it, Slayer, you can't afford to give away the soul point this early on. Well, Weibo have, and that means they are on a severe timer. 4 minutes in the future, they have to fight for the next objective. Otherwise, giving away this Cloud Soul is going to hurt them so badly.
I still just worry about where reliable damage in this phase of the game is going to come through, because we have full scaling build for Xiaohu's Cassiopeia. Elk is pretty far behind the curve. I guess he will get to IE second. That will be big if they can get it before, you know, any Baron starts out, but there's still just so much more bite to JD Gaming right now. And you mentioned it, they don't really have to panic about having to play certain parts of the map with how they've dominated the neutral objectives.
Absolutely, you have that little bit of extra just calm that you get from being this far up. You don't have to worry. You can sack off a couple of potential Drakes, and it just gives you that little bit of extra time to get that scaling up again. You talked about how much damage Gala was doing with the first strike and that initial double tap, but it's also just, he's got the rapid fire. He's hitting you so hard on that initial hit from so far away that it's so oppressive to try to play into. And again, you're in another composition without a true tank. The Poppy's not building full tank, you know? You've got yourself the Sun, the Sky, so you just have to be very careful of where Gala is.
Oh,
like this.
Yeah, there we go. Jiejie.
Boy.
He's chowing down on the calling for now, but I think he's full.
Yeah, I mean, you're very close to dying to that, right? Second item coming through, that's going to be impressive. HongQ as well, going to be able to grab that bot lane tower, and you now got a nearly 2,000 gold lead coming through for JDG.
And man, even, you know, coping maybe for Elk to have some damage back, but talking even further about Gala, he's got 2 cheaper components, but it's only a couple of gold off. He's going to have the IE at relatively the same time to get to 3 items that Elk will get to those 2 items. That is definitely going to be the story of a lot of these fights. But we still entered a bit of a lull state here as JDG are more than willing to kind of farm up, reach those item breakpoints, and if they can stall any sort of desperate Baron play, which they should be able to, Weibo are going to enter the real death spiral I like to call League of Legends games for some teams, where it's like, oh boy, we either have to give Baron, give Soul, or we have to fight to make sure that we don't have to give either of those, and that is such a tricky trap to find yourself in.
Really is. Yeah, the ace in the hole at this point not doing as much as Gala's first auto attack. That's a really rough situation to be in. And it really sucks for the man on Weibo, who we really highlighted as that key carry. Elk coming on over from BLG, and we were like, yes, this is going to be who takes them to the promised lands potentially. As much as Weibo as a team have been looking better overall, Elk in this series, first game he looks great, second game a little bit shaky, and in this one just hasn't been able to get anything going at all. Finally completes that eye edge, so he will deal a little bit of extra damage, but so has Gala for his third item.
And this is the problem with picking Elise support. You feel so useless outside of this lane, and it's even further exacerbated by the fact that you have a double MR stacked K'Sante. You have HongQ, who does now have that passive backup. What targets can you even comfortably find for that full Elise combo that are reliably going to get flashes or kills at this point?
I mean, look at what you've got right here on Xiaoxu. He's got himself the Koenig and the Unending.
Yeah.
Bro does not care. Zero cares given about any of the damage sources on the map right now, unless he's just stood there in the middle of everybody else, and that's pretty unlikely to have happened. It's exactly why I didn't like the idea of the Elise in this game. You need more hard commit CC. The only CC you've got available to you is Jiejie, who, to be fair, has been doing really well with those heroic charges, but you can't rely on that as your only true engage tool.
So, uphill battle nonetheless here for Weibo. And they've got to find a window for one of these picks with the Elise or to make a fight 4v5 at a clutch time. Always that Poppy ult, super valuable as we end it, sort of a mid-lane A-Ram style at TP going to come across from Xiaoxu. It's Gala dashing forward to get a culling onto Erha and Zika. Doesn't get a ton of innate value, and Weibo are just going to try and charge down this dragon. There's the Keeper's Verdict. It's going to punt out HongQ. 5 versus 4. Can JunJia get into the pit? That's a big cocoon. I don't think he can find it. Cloud Soul has been stalled by Weibo. Can they get out, though? Because the fight will not look clean. Gala going to dash forward. Equalizer onto the back line. HongQ eats a chunk of it.
Gala.
Zika gets knocked down very, very low from Gala. There's Cease Assist engagement. There's the heroic charge into his own wall. JunJia can he get himself out as Gala finds 1 kill. Gala finds 2 kills off to the top side of the fight. It's the team fight maestro of the LPL to once again give JDG the edge they need. Elk will find 1 trade back onto Xiaoxu, but none else left to find here as Weibo scatter into the wind.
I mean, can Elk and Xiaohu get back away? It looks like Xiaohu potentially going to be the final catch. HongQ just about doesn't land the stun over the wall, and the remaining members of Weibo will limp back out. But we talked about it. We were hyping this man up the whole time. Gala popping off in that team fight. He just completely splits himself off from the rest of the team. Usually a death sentence on an ADC. But it really is a fight on 2 fronts right here. Gala moves himself upwards. The only thing I'm surprised about is why JunJia didn't try for the steal right here. He just kind of never decides to go in over the pit until the last minute.
Here's where it becomes the Gala show. Ew. That damage is gross. Walks Zika down. Again, Jiejie does a really good job to kind of stall things out. Heroic charge using the inhibitor wall against his own team, but there just isn't enough damage with Weibo right now for this Poppy's effectiveness to really thrive.
No, I mean, as much as the Poppy's finding a lot of use, nobody's being able to actually turn and burn. Now that may well be about to change. Xiaohu does have himself with 2 fully completed items. He's got himself that row stacked up. That's the beginnings of a lot of damage right here coming through. Fine, but it's quite late at the point at which it's really happening, and as much as HongQ hasn't had the biggest pop-off performance either, he's a little bit behind in terms of gold, in terms of items, it doesn't matter because he's just chucking down the ulti on the middle of these big team fights, and that's the use you need to get out of an Anivia.
Yeah, and they're opening up so much space for Gala to really do what he does best and find those aggressive dashes forward. But Gala overstepping here is going to get caught by Jiejie. He's going to cleanse the first knockup. Keeper's Vert comes across. The tidal wave isn't enough. Gala's picked off, opening to Weibo. How much more can they get? Equalizer down. Recall comes across for Erha as he repels on top of Vampire. 2 kills for Weibo, and now they've got to go all out for the Baron here.
I mean, when we're talking about ways to get back into this game, we should have expected that one of them could potentially be Gala overstepping, feeling overly confident. You've got that 4v5 situation, 3v5 situation now to try to deal with. Still, jungler is available for JunJia. He can try smite this away.
Jiejie has been one of the best smiting junglers we have in the LPL this split. Can JunJia do what feels like the unthinkable? He is not spotted. He is going to get a good shot at this.
Oh, he missed.
Do they come off? Oh, he doesn't go over the wall. He wants to go after Elk instead. Cease and desist, but JunJia, you went too early. Weibo patiently waited out, and they don't even reset the Baron. So now it has to be the solo lanes, and Xiaoxu is in the all-out, but he's lost all of his resistances, and that means Xiaohu can take him down. It's only HongQ left, but he's zoned away. Weibo get the Baron onto all 5 and flip this game 3 on its head.
It's going to be one final kill. Erha is going to die, but what a complete and utter disaster right there for JDG. Gala steps a little bit too far forwards, and it spells the end. I hope we get a replay back of that fight around the Baron, however, because, JunJia, with the Vault Breaker, he just shortcocks it slightly, doesn't actually land onto Elk, and it allows Elk to turn around and burn through him. This is just bad from Gala. I mean, you need better map awareness right now to know that you cannot be stepping up that far onto the tower with no support of the rest of your team. This is just great from Weibo. They recognize without Gala, they are a hell of a lot less vulnerable to being taken down by JDG. Turn it around. Now watch this. JunJia decides not to just go for the steal, but actually to go try kill onto Elk. Jumps over this wall here. Just misses. Just misses. If he hits Elk right there, he does kill Elk, and that could potentially change the outcome of this fight. See, Elk gets so low, but just missing that Vault Breaker is the difference maker in that team fight.
You said it though, right? I don't know if Jiejie would have made the call to not go for the 50-50, but I don't think they had, maybe they had vision on JunJia, so the steal would have been a tough spot. But regardless, that's all in the past now. Weibo have bought themselves such valuable time to collect a lot of gold. And where I want to really point out the value of that is we've allowed Elk to start to slowly swing this AD carry matchup. As powerful as Lucian is, Caitlyn, when you get to 4 or 5 items, the range she has, she becomes so much more oppressive. As Jiejie is looking for a flank again, gonna mark onto HongQ, but no hero charge stun comes across, but they catch Xiaoxu TPing in onto a trap. Zika, oh my god, his flame spitter damage is gross. HongQ's pushed away, but they find the re-engage. Yes, going to stasis. Tidal Wave is going to hit up onto Erha. Flash out of Zika to get over the wall. Coling going to come down and not find any of these low health bars. And guess what's on the map, Bloxxer? Another Cloud Drake with everyone hurting badly.
And I mean, that's the majority of your big ultis gone from JDG now.
Oh, they see it. They're going after HongQ. He has to flash, and Seraph Steel comes down. Zika, you have to time this very well. He's going to go after Gala with the flick.
He's done it.
He's fully overheated.
He's done it.
Over the wall to find the crit shot. Gala goes down. JunJia's caught as well. Weibo refused to quit on this series.
They are the nemesis of JDG at this point. You can put them down, but you cannot put them out. Going to be able to grab themselves this Cloud Drake. And Slayer, this is now twice in a row that JDG have gone for the soul and been unable to claim it.
And they're losing even more gold off the back of it. This Baron power play ticks over to a 3.5k gold swing. All of the gold lead for Weibo eclipse off of that Baron, off of that team fight. JDG are sputtering, and they are running out of time to really find their form again to try and keep this series in their favor.
And hats off to Zika, goes for the flank once, goes for the flank a second time, now just going to drop the equalizer down onto this bot lane tier 2 tower, try to help out with the siege. I mean, you haven't been able to get as much use out of the Baron as you would have liked as Weibo, but it doesn't matter. You've managed to do everything you wanted to do with getting the gold back in your favor, and as you've been highlighting, Elk is finally actually online and dealing damage. Zika finally online, dealing damage. Now also has himself a Zhonya's to be able to go golden with. That's going to be that extra level of survivability too. It's not, you're not out of the woods as Weibo, you're not. But JDG, they have been put on the ropes all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, the items that are really powerful too, outside of Elk catching up, Bloodletter's Curse and a Void Staff. So Xiaoxu is kind of susceptible to AP damage by this point. He can get chunked out. And if we get the Zhonya's completed for this scaling Cassiopeia, if we get what could be even more AP loaded into Zika, into another comp that does have an Enchantress support outside of this Cassante, Weibo's solo lanes still can do some really heavy lifting. And Weibo can still have a real shot now at the best birthday present they could give the General, a series win on his special day.
And we talk a lot, right, about how this Elise has fallen off, and it has. Erha's not doing that much at this point in the game, but so has your enemy jungler. Vi, at this point in the game, really doesn't provide too much. A little bit of CC, can potentially go for steals for things, but beyond that, you've just got way more use at the moment out of the Poppy, who's finally tanky enough to actually stand up to your opponents. You can see it right here, Weibo. They are in complete control of all of these lanes, mid and top lane. All of the top side jungle for JDG, fully in Weibo's control.
It's pulling HongQ all over the map. Oh god, Cocoon hits Miasma. There's no way to dash. HongQ gonna get away. Step-Out Presence gonna cancel Xiaoxu's dash forward. Nice little look. But JDG, like I was trying to mention, need HongQ on all these waves. He is the only reliable wave clear with a Lucian in the game to keep Weibo off more turrets.
If Gala is allowed to hit somebody, fully hit somebody with his 4, soon to be 5 items, he will shred through almost anybody. There's not really a member of Weibo that can stand up to him. But the thing about these team fights is that he's not being allowed to stand around. That's part of what we liked about the composition out of Weibo, with the equalizer, with the miasma, and just with the constant threat of a long-range elk hitting down onto you. How do you actually weave your way through these team fights as a Lucian?
Oh, dashing forward, he's lucky to have JunJia that covers onto Jiejie. Cease and desist, Vault Breaker, whole combo onto Jiejie. Gets himself out, but he is hurting, and Baron's up in about 10 seconds, so he needs to get this reset in as quickly as possible and get back out on the map as JDG can shift their focus into the top river.
Yeah, but that's a couple of big ultis away from JDG right now, so you need to try to stall this out a little bit. If Weibo can re-engage right now, they've got all the ultis in their advantage.
Yeah, you lose a lot of the peel that tidal wave has been providing. Vampire's been really good with those. It's a good call out there, Bloxxer. As Jiejie heroically sprints back towards the mid lane. This is where everyone's attention is. Weibo are sacking side lanes, stacking against them, because they want to fight. They want to keep the momentum rolling to close out this series. Oh my god, Elko! That is below 40% HP from Gala's culling. So now, Weibo, they can't really force into the Baron side.
No, at this point you just have to give it up. It's just going to be the full reset. All of those big ultis will come back up. Yeah, you lose the culling, but that's absolutely worthwhile for JDG. They managed to stall everything out. And it looks like people are just going to head back off. I don't remember the last time I saw somebody touch bot wave. I think bot wave's just been doing its own thing for a while, but without the Drake up right now, nobody really needs to think about it. Still, 40 seconds now until the Drake comes up, and a very interesting question emerges. For JDG, either of these are good. Baron or the Soul are great. You'd prefer the Baron overall, but you're not mad about giving up another one. For Weibo, it means you're getting pulled across the map, and you've got a lot of different angles to defend against.
And they're still just holding strong, creating this sort of wraparound of the mid lane wave as HongQ's damage is real now by this point as well. Gets the Flash Frost Glacial Storm combo, and Jiejie is down to about 60% HP. Still more just looking, prodding. Both these junglers daring anybody to look for an angle. Elk's damage, oh my god, double crit shot. HongQ down to about 15% HP. He has teleport. He has the advanced recall. He now needs to get back into this fight as soon as possible.
Oh, I love this. I really like the side of JDG. They see that, so they just head straight up towards the top side of the map.
God.
And right now, Xiaohu is going to try to take himself down that Cloud Drake. He's now going to be late to this. No, he's just going to have to turn tail and run.
Yeah, he's after sprinting back up. Jiejie's getting chunked. HongQ doing so good. Zoning with the Glacial Storm, getting this chip damage that's slowly going to start to hurt. Jiejie, can you get into this pit? There's the equalizer down. HongQ has to flash out. Keeper's Verdict engaged.
Xiaohu!
Pitted, and Xiaohu's going to go after and cut down a huge carry. Gala falls to the birthday boy who makes the play to maybe win this series here for Weibo. Jiejie going to flash after Vampire to try and find this last kill. With only JunJia up and remaining, Baron be damned. Weibo might find this series win here. Vampire's doing a good job stalling, but Weibo, they're going right down the mid lane, and they have JunJia cornered. Zika flashing after him. He does get away for now, but these death timers might just be too long for JDG to save this series.
They've done it. They've turned this back around. That's the benefit of a snake with boots. And they're going to be able to take down JDG once again. One Nexus Tower falls. The second does as well. And a final Keeper's Verdict will close the series out.
What a series. What a statement win there for Weibo. Man, they have now swept the series score against JDG and made Group Ascend just as chaotic as we left it heading into this one.
Oh yeah, we knew that this was going to be a tough matchup. Whatever you think about Weibo and JDG, they play each other tough. The last matchup was the worst that we'd seen JDG look. What I think is particularly impressive about this win, Slayer, is that it wasn't a JDG that didn't show up. This was a JDG fighting and finding angles and making lives difficult for Weibo, and it didn't matter. Weibo was still able to overcome those challenges and prove that they are the better team in this matchup.
Yeah, straight up, Bloxxer, I can't believe they made this draft work into a win.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty putrid. And, man, they just outplayed JDG. A lot for Tabe to go over in this game. We've really praised Gala for how well he's been able to play this season, but the one thing that will always hold Gala back from those sort of like GOAT 80 carry conversations to me is his cocky positioning, and that's what gets the ball rolling. And JDG, they never could find the footing of the fight they wanted after that moment.
If, as Gala, you don't step up mid lane in that situation, you're in complete control. You managed to pick yourself up the soul that they were never able to grab. Despite having the first 3 Drakes and the game lasting the full 30 minutes, it didn't matter. They were not able to go and step up, grab themselves that soul that would have unlocked things for him. You talk about it, mispositioning errors have been a big thing, but it's even more than that. One of the problems I've seen JDG exhibit time and time again is being able to fully close out early leads that they've managed to grab for themselves. And that has really reared its ugly head in this one. As much as we can praise Weibo, JDG, they had 2 games in the bag during this series and fumbled them both.
Yeah, that's... maybe it's a little bit of early coping, but, I mean, this team is still really trying to figure everything out. It's another one we mentioned for Weibo, like a roster that's done a lot of changing. JDG has a lot of parts moving in here, but yeah, that one is going to sting. A series loss like that will have ramifications on the seeding when we talk about the Knights rivalry tournament for Group Ascend, for talking about playoff seeding. A loss like that makes the group just so intriguing. I mean, I know we don't have updated standings, so I'll just kind of talk about it for everybody. But now we have if I'm not mistaken, 3 4-3 teams.
Yep.
All under
it's
AL
a
right
mess
now?
up at the top of the league right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So AL and BLG are both 4-2,
and then these two are going to be 4-3.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. So yeah, we can. Thank you, production, for throwing up the standings. So it's 4-3 JDG, 4-3 Weibo. The game score does still give JDG the edge, but like, we are that top 4 is such a conundrum.
Yeah. And because game differential comes above head-to-head record, the fact that you managed to pick yourself up one of these wins here by JD is important. If they'd have gotten 2-0'd again, that would have completely locked them out of the tiebreaker between them and Weibo. But still, head-to-head does matter. In the instance where you've got tied game scores, head-to-head is then the deciding factor, so getting this 2-0 right here is absolutely critical, and I love the fact that we are seeing a Weibo resurgent. This is an incredible turnaround from a team that, we could all admit, they looked terrible during the first 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
They were bad. They were in conversations for the worst team. All of a sudden, Top Esports and IG, they are the ones that are going to really need to step up their games.
There are only 2 teams in Group Ascend that have put together 3 series wins. Billy Gaming and Weibo Gaming. That is a fact.
Yep. It's been really back and forth, and now we can fully talk about it. Looking on forwards, what is the next matchup that these two have? Well, during week 4, we've got BLG versus Weibo Gaming. That's the next game that you're going to see Weibo play, and that one should be an absolute banger. I mean, between the two of them, that could well be the battle for the top spot.
I've not. Yeah, my camera wants this day to be over more than anybody else apparently. Yeah, no, that's interesting though. Weibo are not going to play again until February. I guess February is a little closer around the corner than I thought it was.
Not
but
too
yeah,
far away.
they won't play again until week 4. where they have that. Yeah, that's the real gauntlet. We'll really be able to test how much Weibo have gotten into form here. BLG and AL. I mean, those are your split 2 and split 3 champions from last year that you'll get to go up against. Very intriguing. JDG also have AL up next here as we get to go through some of these post-game stats and watch through some of the highlights. Again, I just marvel at the fact that we had Caitlyn Elise lose lane and we win a game.
It's the thing with Vi. You fall behind early and it's terrible, but even if you are ahead, which he was, you don't give that much to your team unless you're able to just really have the rest of your team come with you. And the fact that Gala died earlier on during the mid-game, it just really wrecked things. But you are right, you shouldn't really be able to win with an Elise who's behind. I've got to give a lot of credit right here to Erha. Yeah, he didn't have the best time during the laning phase, which is kind of your strongest point, but he turned it around and was very good with the cocoons later on. He missed a lot of cocoons earlier on. Later on in the team fights, he was just being annoying constantly, and to be fair, when paired up alongside a Rumble, that too does a lot of damage. It was more than enough to chunk through a couple of the key members.
And speaking on that resilience factor, I mean, Elk, such a terrible start to this game on his patented Caitlyn, but he comes back to scale in and bring enough damage to really make these fights start to hurt. This was obviously the overextension that really ends up costing JDG, and the ball rolls out of their cart. You know, the thing JDG can maybe hang their hat on is that I don't really necessarily think they got outplayed in this game 3. They kind of cost the game themselves, which, you know, optimistic versus pessimistic view on it. It's like, optimistic is, hey, listen, we clean these things up, like, we should be a lot better, but pessimistic spin obviously can always be Bloxxer. If we don't make these mistakes, it's a lot different of a series. This TP play, though, we're not going to be able to get to the player of the game and player of the series because we're going to have a long interview from the main feed. Zika would be my player of the game for this one.
It's not just this one, it's the previous team fight as well. 2 fights in a row where he finds the flag. He nearly dies doing it twice, and he just keeps going because he knows he has to dump his full damage onto the backline. And as much as you can chuck down the equalizer, it's relatively easy to get off of an equalizer, especially when you've got yourself a Lucian. He can just dash away from it. No, you need to flame spinner right in his face, and that's what he did multiple times. Zika is absolutely my MVP of this second game, and it's great to see him pop off again in another matchup where we were talking about how he'd stepped up in the last one, he steps up in this one. If this is the full look of Weibo, as much as you could say, yeah, JDG did kind of lose this game. If this is the new look Weibo, I'd be scared as the other top teams in this league.
Yeah, and again, I've said it a couple of times, Xiaohu, I think he got better and better laning in this series as it went on, but it's what we love about the general, man. It's just, no matter what has been happening in a game, if you give him a position to make the clutch play later on, he could be 0-10-1, and he won't care. He'll somehow find a way to make it happen. That flash petrifying gaze to find Gala, that is what wins that game at the end there. So,
if he doesn't turn around off of that Drake, when he does, and get to the team fight at the point at which he does.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Genuinely, if he doesn't have Swifties, potentially, he doesn't make it to that play and doesn't manage to completely turn things around, because that team fight was looking risky, and I get the play where you're trying to get the Drake and see if you could stall it out, but it doesn't matter. If you could just get there and murk the backline instantly, well, what can you do? I mean, I love the play from him. Both Xiaohu and Zika saved that game.
So what I'm hearing is Riot giving Cassiopeia the ability to build boots won a series for Weibo.
I'd have to know the exact difference in speed between what the innate speed up the Cassiopeia got before is versus having boots. But having the boots, especially having Swifties specifically in that situation, yeah, that might genuinely have won the game.
That's got to be a trivia question somewhere down the line, Bloxxer. Hopefully we'll be etched in history for that one. Nonetheless, we have etched in already Group Ascend looking chaotic, and the end of our day here at LPL English. But of course, we couldn't wrap up a show without thanking some very important people, so I want to take a moment to say thank you very much to our elite coffee supporters, Aaron Soup, Mong, and Force Without, and owners of a Silmaril. Their pledged financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast who strive to give you an English LPL product every single day. So big shout out to all of our elite coffee supporters. Also, if you guys look in chat or below, you can join just as a coffee member. We are a fan-run broadcast, so anything you can give us, we very much so appreciate, including your time and your chats, all of that really makes the engine that is LPL English run. Bloxxer, final words here before we close out the broadcast of another fun day of LPL.
Hey, that one was really, really great, but if you enjoyed that, remember there's even more tomorrow. We've got Ultra Prime versus OMG as a bit of warm-up into BLG TES, which could be an incredible matchup.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of eyes on that series for sure, Bloxxer, so we will get ready for that day nonetheless. Myself and Bloxxer are done for today. Big shout out to Shivam, our production behind the scenes as well, pulling the full day shift. We will see you guys in February, but enjoy the matches to round out January because the end of the regular season is coming February 6th. We are almost a week away from that, and it is going to be crunch time with some of these group standings. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more